Hello everyone. So in this lesson we are going to see the basics of AI and how we can get from here to Gen AI and above. So basically now if you look at what is AI as an introduction, we will see multiple things. So the first thing to start with is what is the value creation by 2030 by AI. Now that is $13 trillion. It's not million, not billion, it is 13 trillion, right? And this is a study conducted by McKinsey Global Institute. And now you can see here on the right, the image shows how its impact will be in non tech fields as well, right? So now you can see from agri to retail, everything has been covered, and high tech is a portion of it, and AI is going to be useful in automotives, in retail, in commerce, in travel, in oil and gas, in telecom, and all the other areas as well, right? So this is rated from $1 billion to trillion, right? So that is really massive, and this is only a beginning estimate. This can go even higher too. It can go from $13 trillion to $22 trillion also. Now, if we go ahead, so basically, what is AI? Now, AI can be segmented into broadly three types. One is ANI, which is artificial narrow intelligence. Now, this is intelligence that is created for specific purpose or goal, narrowed down onto one specific use. Right? Example: smart speaker, self-driving car, web search, farming and factories, AI there, right? And towards the right end, we have AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. This is the AI that you see in the movies, where it can do anything that a human can do, right? But we are very far from AGI at this stage. This is predicted by scientists that we are not yet there. It might take a decade or two to uh, actually develop a true AGI. Now, in between these comes the generative AI, which we are experiencing, which is like your Bard, ChatGPT, and other tools, right? So, generative AI will also see what these specific types of AI are also in detail as we go forward. Now, we hear the buzzword machine learning often. Let's see in simple terms what is machine learning here, right? So, one of the more important concepts within machine learning is supervised learning, right? So, we need to understand supervised learning to understand machine learning better. So, supervised learning is any input that is given to the machine, and based upon the input, if we say this should be the output, this is where we are supervising the learning of the machine, where you say based upon this input, the output should be these, right? So, let's see a few examples here. Now, let's say the input on the A side is email. Now, based upon the contents of the email, we can just say give output as 0 or 1. Now, this is an application which is spam filtering, right? Now, let's say if you have given audio and the output is text transcripts, which means this is speech recognition. If you've given input as an English and output as Chinese, this is machine translation. Now, if you've given add user info, now based upon that info, the machine will predict if the person is highly probable to click it or not. This is online advertising. Now, if you give an image or radar information, and the output is position of other cars, the application is self-driving cars. Now, if you given an image of a phone or a device, and if the output has to be if it is defected or not, this is where the application is visual inspection. So this whole output is being given by the machine, which is supervised, on large amounts of data as input here. Based upon this, many applications are being created and already have been created, and more complex models and applications are also being worked on. Let's go ahead. Now, what is data? Now, if you look at data, that there could be multiple types of data, and we'll try to understand this in the sense of a data set, right? So, if you look at the left table, we have the data of house in square feet, various square feet, and the number of bedrooms. Now, based upon that, there are different prices also. Now, based on the whole table here in this data set, you'll be able to make a decision. Either, let's say, if you are looking at SFT and want to make a price decision, okay, I need this much SFT with this, and but then in that case, this would be the data set. But let's say if your the square feet and the number of bedrooms also matters, then based upon the data set, you choose. Okay, I think 700 or 1,000 should be good, and if it's 2 or 3 bedrooms, and then you'll go ahead and go for a decision. So this is an example of a data set. Now let's say on the right side, you can see there's an image and there's manually being labeled as cat, not cat, cat, and not cat, right? So basically, if you're building a cat detector, right, this is what you would be doing by manually labeling and feeding some thousands of data images to a machine so that it can actually detect any sort of a cat, right? And this is actually an application developed by Google for detecting cats on videos uploaded on YouTube, right? So which is also known as Google Cat, right? So data set could be various types. Now, how do you acquire this data? So one of the ways has always been like the manual labeling, like how we did for the cats, like based upon the image, we just say cat, not cat, right? So where you're building a cat detector. Now, manual labeling could be really tough when you have loads of data. And this is where you would want to make data by observing user behaviors. Let's say here on the left there's a table which says there's different user IDs, and at one specific time and one specific pricing of the product they were able to make a purchase or they did not purchase. So based upon this activity a person is doing, a lot of data can be generated mapping the user behaviors, right? Similarly, not just people, you can also map the behaviors of machines also. Like say here we have different machines, and at different temperatures and different pressures we're just seeing if the machine is breaking or if there's a fault in the machine, right? So based upon this data also you'll be able to know that a machine of this sort would not be able to take up this pressure and this temperature, and will go for failure, right? This is one way, another way of acquiring data, and which is useful for generating insights. Now the another way of acquiring data is download from websites. Now there are a lot of free data sets available on the internet for, let's say, image generation, for audio translations and everything, which could be also downloaded. But then there are a lot of websites which offer partnerships or integrations, right? So one such integration would be like, let's say, if you have to do government ID verification, and at that stage you are doing an air ticket, and you don't actually, the air ticket as a system does not have to download all the information that is there of government IDs of the whole country. They would just be integrating, and based upon one specific input, they would be able to say that okay, yeah, this is a genuine user. This is also an way to acquire data, but this is via a partnership or an integration, right? So this is about acquiring data, and which, as we see, the methods for acquiring could be different, but the steps that we follow post this S- Pause the step is what is important. Now, if you look at the next session, in our next session, we'll also see how to actually differentiate between the common terminology or buzzwords that are going in the market and what is the real difference between these terminologies. Thank you.